welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. Today I'm going to be doing an update for my rotating Pan Those palettes. So I've been working on these palettes for another month and I'm excited to share with you the progress and the updates and all of that fun stuff. We'll also be talking about pan percentage, and I think I know what I'm going to do for next year, which is great. So let's go ahead and dive in. I have two pre-made palettes that I've been focusing on. The first is the Canyon palette from Alter Ego. So this is kind of like the dupe palette for Natasha Denona's bronze palette. So it's very warm toned, very beautiful gold shades in here, lots of bronze, lots of rust. I have enjoyed this. I definitely liked this a lot in October and kind of like true like early fall. It is definitely winter now where I live, and I do like a gold look, but I feel like in winter I do start to lean a little bit more cool toned, hence the cool tone outfit today. So I've still reached in here for shades, you know, from time to time, but this is definitely starting to phase out a little bit for my preferences for this time of the year. So I don't have any pans in here. I didn't expect to have any pans in here, but one thing that I do want to do is make sure that I use every shade in this palette before, you know, I rotate it out. So last time I had, let me look at my notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shades in here that I had not used, you know, this round of using this palette. And now I only have 1, 2, 3 more shades to use before I can say I have in fact used every shade in here. And those 3 are Expanse, which is this black shade up here. It does have a little bit of sparkle to it, and I think I want to use that as a liner. That would be pretty easy. Let's see, what else do I have here? Russet is this dark kind of, it's like a red velvet shade. Like it's chocolatey, but it's a little bit reddy too. So I need to use this maybe like as a deepening shade for an eye look. And then the last one is Desert Moon, which is kind of this slate shade. I've always struggled with slate shades in pretty much any palette. Like I think about, gosh, so many old palettes that had something like this. I panned the Lorac Pro years ago and it had something like that. So that's one that I'll probably just use like on the outer third of an eye look and kind of call it. But my favorite shades in here have been Cougar, and this one has just such a nice reflect on the eye, so that's been really lovely. I also really like Earth and Rattlesnake as mattes here. So Rattlesnake is a little bit lighter than Earth, but they work really well together. So those have been kind of the favorites out of here, but this is still going to be in. I will be rotating and kind of ending this year's palette series in January, and then I'll start something new for next year. I still will be rotating stuff. I've really enjoyed rotating palettes. I think I just need to kind of tune into, like, this is a warm tone, so this would be really great for me like September, October, maybe even August, and that's when I should use it, not in December. It's just, you know, that's how I am in my preferences. So I'm just kind of fine tuning that, I think. The other pre-made palette that I'm working on is the Glam Palette from Natasha Denona. I have rearranged my shades. I much prefer this layout, and that is one of the benefits of the actual Natasha Denona palettes, is that they have these holes that you can rearrange. So I love the order I have them in, and I've just kind of numbered them. So this is 1 all the way to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. And that's how I kind of keep track of it. In here, I feel like I have, you know, cool tones, which is perfect for this time of year. I have a little bit of warmth as well with some golds, but I'm really enjoying this palette, especially the shimmer shades for all over my lid. And I find the best application for the shimmers with my finger for this formula. So I'm sure you can kind of tell this is a favorite. This is number 7. It is so beautiful. You can see a dip in there from, you know, where I've been dipping into it. And it's like one of those shades where if I just need to get ready quick and I just like need to get out the door, but I want a little bit of eyeshadow on, that's the shade I'm reaching for. So that's been really great. I also have the same goal as I had for the Canyon palette, that I want to make sure I touch every shadow in here before it rolls out for the next rotation and everything next year. So last month I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shades that I still needed to dip into. I am down to 1, 2, 3, 4 that I need to touch, and they're also kind of similar to the Candy ones, some darker shades. So let me show you what they are. So the first one is number 5, which is this kind of slate shade. It's you know, it's pretty. It's just a little bit darker than what I normally go for. So I do think like that on the outer third of an eyeshadow look would be just fine. Let's see here. I also have number 9, which is this one right here. So again, can use it on the outer third and it would be great. And then 14 and 15 are these 2 mattes down here. The brown one should be pretty easy for me to incorporate into my crease. And then this black, I can easily use a liner, or I can use this kind of chocolate brown one as a liner too, you know, either or. But those are the ones that I have left to touch. Not surprised that they're on this kind of darker side, because I have a pretty fair complexion. I just find that dark shades really show dark for me. And so to have depth in my eyeshadow look, I don't usually need to go that deep. I can kind of stick in the middle ground there. So that's usually my pattern with all palettes. But no new pans in either of these, but I'm still really enjoying using them and reaching for them. So that has been great. And then I also have a Z palette, and this is full of ColourPop shades. And I'm really feeling good about the ones that I have in here. So I reach for this every day because some of my staple shades are in here. And again, if I'm just like not feeling like being creative with eyeshadow, I will just build a look out of here. So I would say that this palette has the most use out of the 3, which is great because these are singles that I popped out of the ColourPop palettes. Also nice that these are magnetic. And I've kind of rebuilt my own, and I'm getting way more use out of these shades than I would if I kept them in, you know, their own palette. So I do think I'm probably going to go through the ColourPop palettes and move them into a larger Z palette, like all the shades that I want to keep, because there are some duds I find in the ColourPop ones. So I think it's time to kind of revisit that and probably make just like a Z palette of ColourPop shades. So anyway, long story short, let's talk through here. So Crystal Cove is this one right here. I use it to set my primer down every day. I already had pan when I started, but the pan has definitely expanded. I will try to find something to put side by side for comparison. I have used this pretty much every day that I've worn makeup. So far, since this shade has been in this rotation, I've used it 36 times. I don't think I'll finish it by the end of the year, but I should have, you know, even more pan showing. Last time we hit pan on top down here in the center, and I honestly kind of stopped using it to move on to other shades. I love this peachy tone for an easy transition, and I'm sure I will use it a ton in the spring and fall, but again, because I am kind of leaning a little bit more cooler tones lately, I haven't really wanted a peach. The other shade in here that I really want to call out is Idle Hour. So this shimmery shade, I'm using this as my inner corner highlight, and I'm obviously kind of centering my brush in the same spot, but I am starting to get a good dip going. I don't know how well this is going to pick up. I'm really enjoying this shade. It does have a little bit more like of a golden tone to it, but I love how it looks with every eye look. So even though I am doing kind of more taupes on my eyes, this still looks good in the inner corner. I would love to see pan in that by the end of the year. I don't know if that's going to happen. So we're gonna cross our fingers. I don't want to go over the top and like overuse it just to see pan. I think that's silly, but I do think that there's some pretty good progress going, and especially if I keep using the same spot, there is a chance I could hit pan. So I have used every shade in here at least once since the last update, many of these shades multiple times. So those were, yeah, the Crystal Cove and Idle Hour, kind of the 2 big call outs. Another shade I've really been leaning into here is Rumored, which is kind of this shimmery taupe. That's what I have on my lids today. And this is a really great color. I'm really happy with it. So yeah, that's going to be the little Z palette here. So I don't have any new pans, and I don't have any finished eyeshadows this time that I can update in my in my planner. So this is going to be staying the same. However, when we talk about pan percentages, I did purchase one single eyeshadow. So that's going to impact my pan percentage. So I bought the ColourPop Super Shock shade in Frog. I've kind of always had my eye on this, but never really bought it. It's a really, really pretty shimmer shade. I've been liking it on the lid, of course. And it has just this really nice kind of pinky taupeness to it. So again, the cool tone, I'm leaning into it. And I've enjoyed pairing that with quite a few of the cooler mattes that I have in these palettes, as well as some of the other shades. So this has been really, really fun. I'm glad I purchased it. And yeah, so that does include in my pan percentage. So now I have one more eyeshadow pan than I did before. So right now I have 134 eyeshadow pans in my collection, and I have hit pan on 21 of those pans. So that gives me a pan percentage of 15.67%. Before I added this one, I was at 15.78. So I'm still at 15%. 15 and a half if we want to round, but I'm really happy with that. I do plan to do a declutter here shortly, going through my eyeshadows. I think that there are shades that I can get rid of and I don't need anymore. So at the beginning of next year, end of December, early January, I will have shades that I'm decluttering, and that'll impact my pan percentage. But I wanted to wait till the end of the year to do that. After I've had a chance to really work through every palette in my collection. So that is the update for now. Like I said, I think I have a plan for next year. I think I want to have kind of like a main palette that I'm working on panning, and then every couple months rotate in another palette or two to kind of help shift my perspective of the one focus palette. So I think that's what my plan is going to be for next year. It'll be like a pan that palette / rotating companion palettes. But I think that's just something that would work out really well, and still, like I said, can ease into the different seasons and my preferences for the different months of the year, and still get significant progress, hopefully, on one specific palette. So you can stay tuned for that. I will, kick that off at the beginning of January. But for this month still, I am working on making progress in these shades. So that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed today's update. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below what you think you might do for eyeshadow panning next year. I'm definitely curious and eager to hear what everybody else is thinking about. That's kind of one of my favorite parts of the year, is seeing all of the projects like kick off again in January. So definitely let me know what you're doing. And yeah, that's all I have for you. So I will see you in my next video. Bye.